What is going on, guys? Sid here with another episode of 5-Minute Boss Battles. I know this is a change of pace because you're normally used to seeing FIFA 21 FUT gameplay, but guys, this is essentially a gaming channel, right? But also is a nostalgia channel, right? Eventually I'm gonna be transitioning over to a lot of nostalgia filled goodies as well because guys, I'm a millennial, and any typical millennial will tell you they love their childhood, right? The 90s were amazing. The late 80s to the 90s was an amazing time. It was an amazing time in gaming. It was an amazing time in pop culture. It was an amazing time in almost every aspect of being. I think the 90s was just that decade, right? 80s as well, right? But 90s more so because I lived through it. So what can I tell you? 5-Minute Boss Battles is basically it's nostalgia. It's not nostalgia related, right? And anything that brings back heavy memories, we'll explore. And Streets of Rage 2 came out in 1992. I personally got it in December of 1993 when I came to America. I came around Christmas time, and probably January of 1994 I remember this game, right? Quite vividly. The game is really straightforward. It's a side scroller, it's a beat 'em up, it's absolutely fun to play, right? And everyone just went straight to Axel, but there's tons of characters, and believe it or not, I got Streets of Rage 2, and I never played Streets of Rage 1, right? I bet a lot of children probably were in the same boat. A lot of the grown-ups now, right? We're probably in the same boat in the 90s if you had Streets of Rage 2. I think it came with my console, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, though, right? Because I'm literally trying to recall something from a couple decades ago, right? But yeah, Axel, pretty straightforward, right? Just like relearning the controls, but it's like riding a bike. It's really like riding a bike, right? You're facing a whole bunch of goons. You're trying to retake the town, and yeah, it's just a bunch of, you know, I don't know, but something about Streets of Rage 2, it kind of just reminds me of X-Men, like the art style, like X-Men the series, right, on the cartoon series on Fox, right? Kind of has that same type of feeling, right? But yeah, it came out in 1992, and in Japan it was called something like completely different. I had that pulled up. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it right back up on my phone right now because I just learned this, right? That it was titled something else. It was titled I'm just Wikipedia scrolling, right? Bare Knuckle 2: The Requiem of the Deadly Battle, right? I've never heard that title before, right? Up until now. But yeah, Axel has those beautiful little techniques. You pick up that beautiful pipe that you get from like right around this time, and you pretty much just unload on all of your enemies, right? Unload on all of the minor goons. So, for 5-minute boss battles, it's pretty much nostalgia related. I must reiterate that, right? And if the boss battles come within the range of 5 to 10 minutes, obviously we're going to, you know, we're gonna feature. I'm gonna make it a priority to feature that boss, especially if there's a lot of like memories tied to a certain time period in my life, right? It's selfish, but it's one of those things where, you know, if you have strong memories tied to something, you know, like it's relatable, right? It has a definite relatability factor, and you know, who doesn't love awesome memories from growing up, right? And Streets of Rage 2 was pretty awesome. I recall I beat the game, right? It was one of like the first games that I beat on the Sega, but it was a little difficult. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little difficult. It got progressively harder as this, you know, as you cleared more and more stages, right? But once I did beat the game, you know, I felt amazing, right? Obviously, you're gonna feel amazing, but it was super hard. Like, remembering this game as a child, like, like when you think about it, like in retrospect, you play a lot of hard games, on consoles these days. But when you go back to the limitations, right, of the controls, and of the consoles themselves, right, you kind of find out very quickly that games were still pretty damn hard. Still from now, from games from now and games from the past, they're equally as hard, guys, right? And Streets of Rage 2 doesn't really fall into the category of super hard games, but you could definitely get away with being a casual gamer and beating the game. I was a child, right? And I didn't really struggle too much, but I think towards like the ending stages I did struggle, right, if I recall correctly. But in any bar fight, right, going back to the gameplay that you see right now, in any bar fight, right, Streets of Rage taught me one thing and one thing well, right? You never want to be surrounded by enemies, right, coming at you from multiple angles, right, from multiple directions. You don't want that in real life. You don't want that in a bar fight. You don't want that anywhere, right? Because you will get the crap beat out of you, right? While you're focused on one enemy, a whole bunch of other people will be beating the hell out of you, right? So ideally you want them all on the same side of the screen, right? But yeah, this mini boss, Electra, definitely reminds me of, in terms of like art style, definitely pulling up a lot of X-Men vibes, right, from her, right, from her character. But this was like the easiest, right, of all of the mini bosses to take care of, right? You didn't really have to think about it, right? So of course you're facing the bartender as the main boss of the stage, right? Easy enough, right? The only thing, I think, like, he has like 2 moves, and I think one of them is just kind of like the toss, like he'll toss you into the other goons, right? He doesn't care about, he has no respect for his his henchmen whatsoever. But yeah, I'm not taking the boss seriously, but right there he throws me. Barbin, right? That's the name of the boss, right? But yeah, I kind of just remember, I kind of remember this stage like vividly from growing up, right? It's just one of those things, I'm just feeling the dopamine right now. I'm feeling the serotonin right now, just fighting this guy, and he was easy, right? Like, no joke. Within 60 seconds to maybe 2 minutes, he's done, right? And same goes for the mini bosses as well. So guys, this has been 5-minute boss battles. Very short, very sweet. Do you guys have any super cool memories tied to Streets of Rage 2? What game should we touch next, right? For nostalgia related content?